Hello, and today we're going to talk about how some authors organize their books, their nonfiction books, how they organize them. So I'm going to start with a book called Bats, Strange and Wonderful, and I'm going to read page 12 and 13. It has a little brown bat. Imagine trying to catch a tiny insect in the dark. In an hour, however, a little brown bat can catch several hundred mosquitoes. Like most microbats, it has a special way of catching insects and of finding its way in the dark. As the bat flies, it sends out many high-pitched calls. The sounds bounce off nearby objects and return as echoes the bat can hear. From the echoes, the bat is able to locate objects in front of it. This is called echolocation. Scientists have made echolocation systems, but they are not nearly as good as those of the bats. The echoes a bat receives gives it a clear picture in its brain of what lies ahead. It is able to dodge twigs and even strands of very fine wire. The bat can tell size, shape, and movement of a flying insect. So here the bat is, and the echolocation, the sound, it can sense that flying insect bug right there. So what are these pages about? What kind of information or facts about bats does the author give on these pages? Think about that a minute. Well, we learned how bats can use echolocation. Maybe we learned a little bit about what bats eat. Okay, and that they are awake in the dark. What do you notice about how the author organized the information in this book? How do you think he decided what facts to put together on each page? The author groups together information that goes together. Each part of the book focuses on a small topic that relates to a very big topic. The big topic is bats. On our chart, that information is recorded. Our next story we're going to look at is called A Day and Night in the Desert, and see how the author, Caroline Arnold, organized this book. So on page 2 and 3, up here in the corner, 6 a.m. Tap, 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 tap. It is an early morning in the Sonoran Desert. A woodpecker drills a hole in a saguaro cactus. Saguaro cactus. Sorry, this G is silent. And I know that because I watched the respelling of it right there. The tall plant will be a good place to build a nest. On the ground below, a coyote looks for a shady place to rest. And then it gives a little information blurb. A saguaro cactus can grow 40 to 60 feet tall. It's the tallest kind of cactus in the United States. On the next page, a jackrabbit spots the coyote and bounds away on long, strong legs. What do you notice about the information in this book so far? Well, it says 6 a.m. These things are happening at 6 a.m. Now I'm going to turn to page 8 and 9. This is 3 p.m. in the afternoon. 6 a.m. was in the morning. By afternoon, the desert air is very hot. Most animals stay out of the sun, but the antelope ground squirrel does not seem to mind. It scampers across the desert floor, gathering seeds, fruit, and insects. Its tail shades its body like an umbrella. The squirrel keeps watch for snakes and other predators. A red-tailed hawk circles in the sky. It is looking for something to eat. The squirrel sees the hawk and dashes to safety inside its burrow. An antelope ground, and this is a little informational piece, an antelope ground squirrels often climb bare cacti to eat the fruit. That's this cactus, to eat the fruit that's on top. No one knows how they keep from getting stuck by the cacti's sharp spines. And now we're going to look quickly at 1415, how the author organizes this. This is at midnight, in the middle of the night. The cool midnight air is full of life. Bats swoop in the dark sky. Some chase tiny insects. Others drink nectar from the cactus flowers. Aroo! Ow! Ow! Howls the coyote. All night long it hunts for food. It will eat insects, lizards, mice, fruit, or whatever it can find. When the coyote finds water, a water hole, it stops for a drink. Scorpions and tarantulas crawl nearby looking for spiders and other insects to eat. A water hole in the desert is called an oasis. So at midnight, it's talking about in the middle of the night, these creatures are out in the middle of the night. So how did Caroline Arnold, Habitats, A Day and Night in the Desert, organize her book? Well, there was 6 a.m. in the morning, then 3 p.m., then midnight. And when we read this book, you'll see that every page has, let me go forward. Starts at 6 a.m., then 9 a.m., then noon. So she's going through the time of the day and showing and telling what is happening throughout the desert during the day. So the author organizes her information in the order in which it happens throughout a day. Telling information in the order it happens is called chronological order. Chronological is a big word. It means the order in which it happens. So if you tell a story of you getting up in the morning, getting dressed, getting ready, eating breakfast, coming to school, riding the bus, all that, you're telling it in chronological order. Most stories, movies go in chronological order, but sometimes they have a little section that says 2 weeks later or 2 weeks earlier, and it has a section that goes back. So then you know it's not in chronological order. Well, there's another book I'm going to read about called Shell, Beak, Tusk. Shell, Beak, Tusk. So I'm going to read pages 8 and 9. A shell is for hiding. A turtle shell is made of bone. Most of the turtle's bones are inside its body, but its backbone and ribcage grow as the shell. If a box turtle sees a fox or a raccoon, it hides its tail, and legs inside the bony shell. Unable to break through, the predator eventually gives up, and the turtle wins the game of hide and seek. Now we have another creature. The only bony part of a snail is its shell. The rest of its body, the soft part, is called the foot. If a snail is threatened, it pulls its foot, which includes its head, belly, and everything else inside the shell. Beetles, spiders, and even some larger animals like birds can't crack the shell, so the snail is safe. The box turtle is a reptile related to lizards and snakes. A snail is part of the mollusk family, along with clams, oysters, and octopuses. Turtles and snails are not even distant cousins. So this book is telling about a shell is for hiding. What do you notice that this is mostly about? I just kind of said it. I gave you the answer. Shells are for hiding, for safety. Okay, now we're going to go about page 12 and 13. Wings are for flying. A bird's wings are covered with stiff feathers. The feathers push down the air and the air pushes back up. This allows the bird to fly. Flying makes birds better at catching prey, including and finding fruits and nuts and escaping predators. Bat wings are not made of feathers but cartilage. Your ears are also made of cartilage. It stretches from the bat's long fingers to its feet. Flying allows bats to hunt insects at midnight and to feast on many different plants. Birds and bats developed wings separately. Birds evolved from fast and ferocious dinosaurs called theropods, which included Tyrannosaurus and raptors. Bats, which are mammals, likely evolved from a mammal that glided from tree to tree, just as lemurs and flying squirrels do today. So, what do you notice about these pages? What are they mostly about? Right, wings. Wings for animals and how they use them. Now, if I were to read page 18 and 19, and it's called a beak. So it's mainly going to talk about the beaks and what goes on with the beaks and what's happening with animals with their beaks and so on. Okay, so the author organized in shell, beak, and tusk, organized them by their categories of information into smaller groups. They put it together. So there are many ways an author can do that, can organize. Okay, so this was about flying at night. They organize by what they do. This one, A Day in the Desert, is by chronological order. And this one is by the topic, like wings, shell, beak, tusk. It's going to have a page about tusk, what they use them for, what they do. So there are many ways an author may organize their books. Good readers realize how the author organizes their books as they read it. How an author organizes their books makes it easier for that book to explain and find the information if we need to look back in that for that information, to answer a question or just to look and see what it's about. Sometimes authors tell information in the order that it happens, and sometimes they group the information into smaller chunks and smaller groups depending on the category. As you read informational books, you need to be paying attention to how the author organized the information in their books. Today, for silent reading, pick an informational book. Look at it, read it, and decide how did the author organize their books. In your writing journal, go to the Writing About Reading section, find your next empty page, and write about how the author of the informational book you read organized their book.